Hi there, this is Diane and I'm doing a special curly look today. And this is my official before, and this is what my hair does if left to its own vices. I have terribly wicked cowlicks here and here, and it's just sort of wavy, and if I brush this out it'll be frizzy too. And so I did have a couple of requests like, how do I get really curly hair? Well, the only way that I know is with a real curling iron with a small barrel like this. I think this is a 3/4 of an inch barrel. And in order to get a really nice spirally type of curl, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques today, but I rarely get an opportunity to do this to my own hair because it takes so much time. So if you have somebody who's willing to help you and you've got a couple of curling irons flying around, then it's going to make it go a lot faster. But when you're by yourself, it just takes time, and so that's why I don't really do this that often. And the key to this, if you notice, hair, especially if it has a little bit of wave to it or whatever, from here to about here, if you can see that, it's kind of flat to my head, and then it goes out and it has this sort of weight line here. And so what you want to do is pull this up a little bit. Now if I was going to wear my hair and not be curling it, I could work with this, what I have here, and rat it a little bit and give it some height so that it would look more presentable. But I would never just go out like this. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but because I know how to style it a little bit more attractively, I usually take those extra steps. And so here's how I'm going to handle this. I'm going to sort of make a little part just so I have a place to start. And what you do to make this, you just grab a little piece, and this is the main key. And I've seen some people start right here and then they start rolling like that, and then just kind of like back up the bottoms like that. I've done it all kinds of ways, so I don't really have a some kind of preference or whatever. But the main thing about this, it's just a wicked curl. You cannot get a better curl than one you get with a curling iron. And the other way that you can get one to really make it stick is to, for all day stuff, spray each little piece with a light dusting of hairspray before you curl. And that way it'll make it a little more crunchy. But this is still nice and soft. And to get this out of the way, just gonna pull it over there and start doing the magic to a really nice curl is a small section like that and real tight to the crown, so it gives it that point right up there at the base of your head. I'm just sort of with my finger pumping it while I let that last hair get through. And by the time you reach the bottom of your hair, it's ready to pull out. Another way that you can do this to get a really interesting curl is, let's see, I'm gonna pull these over. See, here's the problem whenever I do this. Because it's so curly, it looks different than my other hair. So you have to commit to doing every little teeny tiny section of your hair to get this wah wah look. And it's going to look different. You can tell. And if your hair's real long, it's going to shrink quite a bit. You see that? So you just got to commit to do it. The other thing you can do is take a little section like this and twist it before you curl it, and that will give it a really interesting wiry curly thing, and it's going to help with the it'll make it like a little rope. Whoops. See, the worst thing about using a curling iron if you're inexperienced is you might miss the very edge of it, on the very edge on the very, very bottom, the tips of your hair. And then you have your hair curly but straight on the very end, and that is one thing you don't want to do. You see how that's a little bit different? And the other one, I twisted that one first. Just sort of the magic to a nice, really curly, pointy, almost like a perm, but even nicer, is that you do take little teeny tiny sections like this. And very patiently, just one by one, you hand curl each one. And yeah, don't comb those out. Do not comb those out. You work too hard to get them. See all that I gotta work in here? Just gonna pump it and keep twisting it. My hair has so many colors in it. It looks like taffy. Isn't it? That's funny. I'm getting my hair done in a couple days. I don't know what he's going to do with it. I'm always up for an adventure. Okay, once you reach the end, it's all been curled before. Bing! Just get it out of the way. So I can do the next one. Now here is something that is so funny. I'm getting ready to do a shoot for my 5 Awesome Optimist video in a minute here when I'm done. A minute, it might take me an hour, who knows. And Valentine's Day is coming in just a few days. And so I'm going to talk about what there is to be optimistic about love, and also how optimism is action, it's not just a feeling. And so I did, as a little experiment, I joined 3 singles sites today, and I'm watching all the results come in. It's so funny! Oh my gosh! If you're ever feeling down about yourself, just join one of those single sites and fill in your profile. And you know, nothing else. One thing is fascinating about filling in a profile on a singles site is, if you've never done it before, and I've done it a lot, I sort of took a hiatus for a couple of years from doing it, and certainly had my share of dates and experiences, and I'm actually in the process of writing a book about some of those experiences. But it's always a good idea to assess where you are, what you like. And, you know, when you get busy with, you know, just regular life, especially if you have children, you're always on the bottom of the heap. You're on the last thing on the list. And so to answer questions like, what do I like? No one ever asked me that. I don't know. What do I like? What books do I like? Well, so you have to stop and think a little bit about, you know, you have to put yourself a little higher on the priority, and that's one of the things that is a very interesting phenomenon when you do take the time to join those. And then a lot of them have you do personality assessments, and one of the videos that I do have coming talks about one of my favorite ones and one of my favorite sites to join. It has a really comprehensive one that you can have done for free. It's pretty nice. But, look at how these girls are turning out. Aren't they fun? Get them out of the way. Maybe I need some little clippy things to hold them up. If you don't get them out of the way, then they just kind of make it more difficult to find the next piece that you're looking for. So just make sense. And it's so interesting because I came across a video I hadn't posted from a while ago, and I posted a little pieces of it, and I put pictures of it in my Facebook this week, and a couple people said, oh, you know, I'm used to seeing you in curlers, and I forgot about, you know, just regular hairstyles, and putting curlers in my hair is a pretty new thing, so I've always had a love for trying new hairstyles. And I remember one time, I think I shared this in one of my videos, maybe, when it was the summertime, and I think I was in 6th grade or something. We had, we were just playing with our hair, my sister and I, and I did my hair in a side ponytail with like 9 or 10 braids coming out of the main thing, until they were all of it was just braids, and then I connected it on the bottom, and it looked like a macrame. Remember macrame? And then I put a plant in it, and my mom was howling. She just thought that was so funny, because that's exactly what it looked like. It's one of those little plant hangers that your mom does. You know, when macrame was popular in the early 70s or whatever. Am I giving away my age? Well, it is so interesting how many hours a girl can spend on her hair. And probably guys who ever see this who are bald, they can never relate. They can never relate how much time a girl has to spend on her hair. It's not just that she can. It's just like one of those things that we just feel like we have to do. And one of the comments that I received from one of my viewers was saying how much fun it is to be a woman and to try different curlers, but how her mother, the next generation up, it was not a pleasure. It was expected, and they had to do it. And it was a social pressure that these ladies had to go to the salon or have their hair in rollers so that it was just socially acceptable. And that would make it a drag, don't you think? I think that would be sad. I'm glad that pretty much anything goes as far as your hair today. Ooh, yeah. And, if you do it, you choose to do it. And whether you have straight hair or wavy hair or colored hair or frosted hair or streaked hair or hair with weave, whatever it is, make it your own, make it your best, and experiment until you do get your best. And maybe having changing hair is part of your best, that one day you like to try something different, try something new. It does get kind of boring if you always have the same exact hair length, same exact color, same exact. And imagine if it's boring for you, imagine for all the people who have to be around you all the time. But on the other hand, maybe some people like that, and they feel like the whole world is going crazy, and so at least that they can have stability with their hair. So there's always two sides to look at things. Me, I never stress about it. I mean, to me, hair is just hair, and I've had every kind of hair you can have, just about every color, every length, and I've sort of just come to accept, what I was born with, which is the crazy, but I always do a little bit to enhance it, whether I put curlers in it or frost it a little bit or whatever. Last weekend, I think it was last weekend, one of my former teachers from many years past came to teach at a fireside at my church, and I was saying how he didn't look a day older than when he was my teacher when I was in high school. I mean, that's saying something. And I said, well, today, 50 doesn't look like 50 used to. If you're 50 years old today, I mean, you look at pictures of people who were 50 back a long time ago, there's a huge difference. I mean, people today look so much younger. And I think it's not that just they look younger, they feel younger, they live longer, and I think it's for several reasons. That they color their hair, for one, and number two, maybe they're more physically active, and so they're a little bit healthier, maybe have a longer lifespan, and also that there's all kinds of products for anti-aging and stuff. And today a lot of people get plastic surgery, and I don't know, there's just all ways to fight the whole father time thing. Now look at the difference between that curl and another one. You see the difference of that? That is different because I used a wider piece. And look at the end. The end is not curled very well. So I'm going to try and touch that one up again. And don't be afraid to recurl a piece. It's just your hair, for heaven's sakes. I do have a lot of hair. I've been getting several inquiries about people whose hair is thinning and who are losing their hair and stuff. And I've been doing some research about it, and it depends on how bad it is. You know, there are different, you know, medical things that you could do, like Rogaine or something if it's that bad. And then physical things, you could get a hair weave. And I've seen those done. My sister had one of those done when she was getting married. She just did it for fun. She wanted longer pieces of blonde hair in her hair. And they literally sew it in. I mean, it's called like a hair weave, they literally sew it in. And it's in there for months and months until you take it back out. But it's such a hassle. You know, you're always worried about how it's going to show because they tuck it up under here. What we do for beauty, it's insane sometimes. Am I almost done with this side? Good heavens. Now you see why I don't do this very often. It just takes so long. It's not like it's painstaking and it's, you know, it's not fun or whatever, but it just takes a while. But if it's part of the ritual and you're having fun, you're going to a prom or whatever, do it. It's fun. Alright, I'm going to stop this and going to come back when I'm a little bit closer to being done, because you see the difference? It just gives it a little bit more life to it. Zuh! Alright, I'm going to go do some more of my thing, and I'll be back and show you some more results. Still going! It's like an hour and something later, and I'll let you take a look at it and you decide if you think it's worth the time or not. I didn't put any hairspray on it, so it's very soft. And I didn't miss any little pieces, but you can see how if you, once you're done with it, because I held them up in a little clip as I was moving around, you can come back and sort of grab a few and just touch them up or whatever. So yeah, not an easy, I mean it's easy, but it takes a long time to get this look. So happy curling. But obviously this is the only way to go if you really want curls that are like this. It's not, you cannot get this from Velcro rollers or from the other things I did, because if you try to use this small of a curler, long hair like this will totally get stuck in it, and when you take it out it'll just be all blah. It won't work. So when I want this look, if I ever want to have this curly look, like let's say I'm doing Little Bo Peep or Goldilocks or something, I gotta use a curling iron, and I gotta invest at least an hour and a half, maybe 2. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. I'm Diane.